Have you ever lost your way? Have mercy, thinking about yesterday. I was barefoot in the creek, singing songs that came out of the street, and my heart was free as a breeze. Long before it was broken, long before harsh words were spoken, there was nothing to rise above. Go where the love is. Go where the love is. Yeah. Go where the love is, and you won't be lost again. Go where the love is. Go where the love is. Yeah. Go where the love is, and you won't be lost again. Have you ever gone astray, road weary, all out of faith? Have you ever lost your way? Go where the love is. Go where the love is. Yeah. Go where the love is, and you won't be lost again. Go where the love is. Go where the love is. Yeah. Go where the love is, and you won't be lost again. Go where the love is. Go where the love is. Yeah. Go where the love is, and you won't be lost again. Go where the love is, and you won't be lost again. Go where the love is. Go where the love is. Yeah. Go where the love is, and you won't be lost again. Go where the love is. Go where the love is. Yeah. Go where the love is, and you won't be lost again.
Hi, Sonder family. You have come to where the love is. You're with your community, and I'm so happy to welcome you this evening as we work on a couple of journal pages in our beautiful February journal. My name is Jennifer Ogilvy, and I'm coming to you from Garland, Texas, which is a suburb in the Dallas area, kind of North Texas. And my co-facilitator this evening, you'll see her in the chat, is the fabulous Bailey Grady. So you've got Jennifer and Bailey on the call this evening. We want to make sure. Oh, and Bailey's on. She's waving. She's got her kitty cat. Can y'all see that cozy furry baby hanging out, just trying to stay warm or climbing over you? I'm not sure, Bailey. But we are just really glad to hang out. We have a very chill evening. We're going to spend a lot of time with our pages, some good soft music. If you are not feeling the vibe of a prompt, we're just glad you're here. Work on something else. Check your habit tracker out. Get caught up with your days. Maybe go check out the app and look at your affirmations. We're just glad you're here. We don't we'll be working on these prompts, but a lot of times I know that some of us will just like show up to hang out. So we're glad you're here. Um, Speaking of showing up to hang out, Thursday evening, on the 13th, which is officially Galentine's, that's become a thing. I'm going to be leading the coloring social, and I would love to have you come just hang out on Galentine's Day. Bring either your coloring page or a very slow paced, mindful hobby that you have. Sit with us, hang out, and relax. So yeah, I get to hang out with y'all a couple times this week. I'm very excited about that. I saw we have a couple of first timers joining us this evening. So, welcome, welcome to you for attending your first social. We love this community, and this really, I think the socials are such a special part of this journal journey because we always have the support of one another. And I have said many, many times that if it weren't for the community, I don't know that I would, get some of these prompts done. Like it's working with y'all that really helps spur my brain and gets me going. So I love that. Yeah. On Thursday, February 13th, I guess has become this unofficial day for Galentine's draw. Let's see who can do this first. Do y'all know where it came from? It's a pop culture thing that came out of a comedy that was on several years ago, and now it kind of happens every year. Let's see if anybody, yeah, Parks and Recs. Leslie Nope came up with the idea of Galentine. So we're going to do that if you want to hang out. So make sure your chat right now is set to everyone. If you see host and panelist, then not everybody can maybe see, your chat. So you want it to say everyone because we do communicate via the chat when we're together in these socials. Your mics are off, your cameras are off. And then we'll communicate with one another in the chat. We do that to keep this a safe place. So I want to remind you, double check that. Speaking of safe places, there's our community guidelines. And we and yeah, and just said she was sorry. And sometimes depending on your device or even depending on how Zoom is behaving, it could, revert back to host and panelists. You got to keep changing it every time. The settings are all wonky sometimes. So there's the community guidelines. We do share these when we gather together because we do create safe spaces, not just for each other, but for ourselves. And so we have reminders here about, making sure that you're here and you take what you need. So basically, if something ever starts feeling a little uncomfortable, a little scratchy, a little itchy as we're digging in, it's okay to sit with it and do it when you're in the headspace. Just because we're here doesn't necessarily mean the timing's right. Yes, that first song was called Go Where the Love Is by Edie Brickell, Brickell, and I will share my playlist at the end. Go Where the Love Is, and it's from a movie called The Way Back, which is it's such a good movie. But I love Go Where the Love Is, so I play it often when I'm hanging out with y'all because I love it. Um, Admiration. I love admiration. I love that it happened this month because, we turn the calendar and it's February and it's hearts and it's what, and I love the idea of thinking about admiring ourselves and admiring all the people that in our life that are in our lives, and how beautiful to lean into kind of that season of love with admiration. And someone Monday morning at our weekly setup said, a long time ago, someone had said, she was in her job, it was a professional encounter, and said, I just want you to know how much I admire the work that you're doing. And this person shared that it just stopped her in her tracks because people had said thank you. She worked in a great environment. But for someone to stop for a moment and say, I admire you, I admire your work. So it just stuck with me. And so she said, I always try to make sure that I tell people those same words. So this one was hitting very strongly for her. And I love the idea of thinking about the love we have for ourselves and the love we have for our community, in our many communities, what that looks like through admiration. And if you recall, we did adoration maybe a couple of years ago for some of you oldies. And so I'm kind of feeling those same vibes as adoration. What do you adore? What do you admire? I just love it. So tonight we're spending a lot of time hanging out with our paper, and I love these kind of nights. It's chilly, it's cozy. We're going to hang with our paper. And we're going to just kind of look at admiration of ourselves. I have a nice, sweet, beautiful opening activity through the mirror's eyes. We know that mirror work is good, good, good for our souls. And so we're going to do a little mirror work with our journal. We're going to work on our letter of admiration. We're going to do our gratitude jar, and we're going to do a special little good night closing activity that I hope will send you to bed with just the best feels of your life. And I actually think I swapped the order of this. I think we're going to look at the gratitude jar before the letter. Anyhow, so I'm going to invite you now to flip to an open, open your journal, flip to a blank notes page. Maybe you have an extra journal for these longer reflections, because this is not something that's in your journal. You could look at your scratch pad of the week, although you might want a little more space than that. And I want you to pretend that your reflection steps out of the mirror and has a voice. Now you can do this bonus points if you have a chance to hop up and get a mirror and actually look adoringly at yourself. But remember that that reflection knows your story, your journey, and your heart. And so our journal prompt, I'm asking you, inviting you to reflect on what your reflection admires about your strength, your kindness, and your creativity. If your reflection could give you one piece of advice, one piece to grow your own self-love, because I think that's more important than any other kind of love that's out there, what would that reflection say to you? What do you need to celebrate about you, the wonderful you? Write about this magical encounter and the wisdom that you gain. So just, sort of sit back for a moment. Again, you might want to actually get a mirror. And mirror work is when you talk to yourself, when you tell yourself those things that you need to hear. You don't wait on anybody else to say it. You say it and you believe it. And so you might want to grab a little mirror as you start really gazing upon that pretty special person that's looking back at you. And then reflect upon what that reflection would say. And just like this graphic says, talk to yourself like someone you love. And you might want to fall into some affirmations like you are loved, or you can do this, you are worthy, I love you. And I'm going to give you a good amount of music to just sit back, do some breathing, think about what your reflection would tell you. And then as things pop up for you, or if you're in a spot right now where you're having a little bit of trouble finding those good things that your reflection would say, holler out to us. Yeah, phone camera, Stephanie. Ah, perfect. Front, yes, Callie. Front facing, put that, yeah, look at yourself. Um, and let the Sonder family rally around you. We're here together to do this. This is you don't have to be by yourself. So I'm gonna put on some sweet music as we sort of lean into that advice. What do you need to hear? How can you love and admire yourself better? And we'll get going with this reflection to start our evening together. We're not quite finished with this reflection, but I wanted to pop on and just say I'm proud of you all for considering how you're going to frame this out. Writing a letter, this is kind of like writing a letter to yourself and giving yourself the things you need to hear can be very much a little daunting, and you really kind of have to stretch yourself and just be brave and bold. So I think I love the support I'm seeing here in the chat. And again, maybe look at an affirmation that I'll put those affirmations back up. I was suggesting to maybe start with an affirmation and write that down and then answer to yourself if it's, I am worthy. Ask yourself why and write, why are you worthy? And then after you write that, why you're worthy, and you get your answer, ask yourself why again. Well, why? Why did I put that? And the idea, it's an exercise called the 5 whys, and it really helps you kind of peel back those onion layers for trickier ideas and trickier considerations. So I'll put on a little more music while you do that, and that might be a direction that you could go. And I'm so proud of y'all for putting the support you're showing each other in the chat. So continue to do that. I am writing about, the embracing the aging process. The world tells me I shouldn't celebrate gray hair and wrinkles and extra weight. And so my reflections reminding me that I can still be vital and beautiful and I matter and I count, 60 and beyond. So those are the words I'm needing to hear, and that's what I'm writing to this evening. Let me put on a little more music while you continue working on this reflection. was fantastic work. Thank you for spending time with this reflection. Look yourself in the mirror, look at that reflection, and tell yourself thank you. And mirror work can be so tricky because it feels kind of silly and kind of weird, but it's important. Talk to yourself. Maybe take one thing that you wrote tonight and put it on a sticky and go put that on like your bathroom mirror. And while you're brushing your teeth, read that and look at yourself in the eye and remind yourself of that one thing that you wrote. We gotta no, it's not. I don't think it's too arrogant to write the letter of admiration to yourself, and that is actually something I was gonna suggest, Victoria. But we have to love ourselves first before we can truly be the best lover of the folks in our community, right? Like if we're not so good with who we are, how can we be good for others? And I think that's the first key of self-care, right? Is learning to love yourself. So, if you're still kind of thinking about this, let it bounce around in your head. That go back to that 5 whys. That's a really great way to dig into some things, especially if stuff feels hard, right? It gives yourself that space to just question and wonder and sort of meander around in your mind. So we're going to now go ahead and look at that gratitude jar. Now, I just want to know, do you all, when you have a gratitude jar, do you tend to use it like a gratitude tracker? Or do you wait and sort of do a 1, 2, 3 times sitting with it? Like, let me know, because I've always wondered, like, I tend to do it as a tracker and I write a reflection there every day. So you guys may have already okay, Brenda says she's doing it like once all at once, Kimberly all at once, daily gratitude. Okay, so we got okay, good. So I've got some ideas. So even if you've been tracking, um, and you've got this jar, like a third of the way filled, no worries, because we're gonna extend this gratitude exercise a little bit tonight. But if you're sitting like I'm ready to fill it up tonight, I've also got some ideas. So if you see something you like, grab a screenshot or take a picture of it with your phone because, you'll see this jar or you'll see a tracker or something like this again. I know lots of folks will set it up almost like a bingo jar, and you mark things off. So let's take a look at some of those ideas and then we're going to have a small moment for reflection with this gratitude jar. And I was excited when I was assigned this one because I always loved that little cartoon of the happiness jar. Happiness and gratitude, of course, go hand in hand. Made it in a Valentine values jar. Love that. So, lots of ways to set this up. Now, the reason we always have a gratitude exercise is because gratitude is so good for ourselves. And if you were struggling with that reflection journal prompt about really, thinking about that, how can you better love yourself? Start with some gratitude. Maybe that will help with that because you are wiring and firing new neurons in your brain, making those new connections. You up the dopamine and you up the serotonin, those good things, those neurotransmitters that are so good for happiness, for that overall happiness. And then when you're up in that stuff, you're reducing fear and you're knocking down the cortisol that's putting you in fight or flight mode, right? And we want to keep that cortisol down. It regulates those stress hormones. And then finally, it does foster cognitive restructuring by evoking positive thinking. So, poor little Eeyore in Winnie the Pooh, just everything was like this all the time. And so he needed to practice a little bit of gratitude to maybe boost that mood. So this there I got this graphic from Positive Psychology. That's a great website if you want to learn more about your beautiful brain and how it runs you. So if you are tracking, grabbed this beautiful jar off of Sonder Club. Somebody set it up with those fun, beautiful little hearts. You could track a gratitude a day when somebody does something kind or when you do something kind. Look at your daily highlight of, what was the biggest thing you're grateful for that day, the highlight of it, or look for the little things, those glimmers, to seek the things that maybe go unnoticed. We flip on a light switch and we don't think anything about it, but wow, it's kind of magical, right? That's a way big thing to be grateful for. Now here's some ways of repurposing your jar, but also maybe working it in other places in your journal. So you could use this as a challenge, and you could, maybe think about, what gratitude you're showing gratitude to future you by putting steps and actions in places. So maybe you do a debt challenge, or a savings challenge, or a step challenge, a wellness challenge. Maybe you're trying to really ramp up your nutritional needs. And so you're going to fill this jar with all the ways you're going to do that. Decluttering, maybe you can track all the things you're going to declutter and get rid of and make little, remember them by their pictures. Screen time limits, eating at home, all kind of ways you can just make challenges for yourself. And I'll go back and forth between these. So if you do see something like I don't want to put that in my gratitude jar, but I do want to put that in my weekly setup, you can grab a screenshot of that idea so that you can incorporate it. Also, a theme jar for gratitude. So people in your life. Maybe it's all about your job. Maybe it's the gratitude for the hobbies you have. Your home. Where do you find gratitude there? Maybe a year. Maybe you do a reflection over 2024 or a favorite season. Or perhaps it's a gratitude for challenges that are going on in your life right now. And you're going to also pair that with the lessons that you're learning. You can start by just filling it up. So think bingo board, right? And so you put a bunch of stuff in here and you use it as a reverse bucket list. And maybe you mark things off as they happen. So you fill this up and then you just mark it off. So you could do a self-care menu, put like little menus, things you can take and mark off. Take what you need, giving gratitude for yourself, admiration, self-love. Maybe a daily question or a daily prompt could go here, and then you reflect upon that. And then like do a happy list or a bingo board of just the simple things of life, sleeping in, fresh sheets, visiting the library, the things that just bring you joy. Because gratitude and happiness, again, they're best friends, they're besties. So we want to have stuff for happiness. Now, Sonder family fills this up in all different ways, right? You can do writing, that you can use stickers, lots of great ideas. Y'all are dropping some good things. Keep talking. Yeah, in the chat. Great ideas in the chat. Um, love when folks get artsy. I love, little fireflies and the little, lines to write on, but they're color coded, or gumdrops or gum balls, or you just draw shapes and you number them and then go in every day and write the thing that you are deciding to write on. You could fill it with affirmations. You can fill it with just the things that bring you joy, the people in your life, the things that you do. You can use stickers to write into. I always love that one with the straw and the ice cubes because it just looks so refreshing. So I'm going to leave you with this gratitude jar. If you're going to start thinking about, maybe the things you most admire in life, or you could like look at your home. What do I admire about my home? What do I admire about my job? Really maybe hone in on one thing like that. But if you've been tracking and we're at day 11, I want you to go back and look over your last 11 days. And pick one, maybe two things, and I want you to do a deep dive, really admire this thing that you were grateful for, and do a deep dive answering this question: what behind the scenes effort, skill, or dedication went into whatever you're grateful for? And really dissect it. Really, if you wrote family down, what happened for that? Like, do a deep dive, all because 2 people fell in love, and we had these amazing kids, and they've added to like, really dig into that. Maybe it's, your home. Well, that took some doing to get to where you are. You packed boxes, you moved, you found just the right place. I want you to just kind of do that dissection of all the things that you can admire that had to fall into place for that gratitude. So spend time with 1 or 2 of those things you've already tracked. Otherwise, kind of start working on your jar. Let us know how you're going to set that up. And then hopefully through this time with our jar, it's going to give you some deeper gratitude for the things that are there. And I'm going to put on a lot of music. And I just want you to share with us how you're going to be setting this up, or what you're thinking about as you do a deeper dive into one of those gratitudes you've already tracked. We've got a few more minutes to work on our gratitude jar, but something the chat's gold as usual, but something else that popped into my head is that, maybe if you're just feeling kind of blah and overwhelmed, perhaps your gratitude just becomes this safe place to kind of do a brain dump and to just start writing and just write the things. Let it take those things that are overwhelming your noggin right now and just get it out on paper, and just show gratitude that you have the ability to do that. And just the act of writing it will help you release it. So that was just another little thing that popped up as I was reading the chat. Let's continue to work on this for just a few more minutes. Alrighty. So hopefully you got some ideas to start digging into this gratitude jar if you haven't already, if you're not using it as a day-to-day tracker. And thank you for spending a little time with one of those things that you might have already put in your tracker, if that's how you're using it, to really kind of deconstruct and go deep into that gratitude and that admiration for that thing that you put in the jar. And so now I'm going to invite you to turn to page 15, which is your letter of admiration. And the instructions say write a letter from you to someone you admire. And yes, it can be to yourself. What qualities or achievements do you admire do you admire them for? And how has this person influenced your life? And tell them why you hold them in such high regard. And so sometimes sitting and looking at these blank pages, we get a little, stage performance when it's time to actually write. So we're going to support one another while we sort of hone in on how we're going to set this up. Now, this could be a family member or a friend, a someone from your past, a teacher, a mentor. I tend to default to my mother-in-law anytime I write a letter to someone who was influential in my life. I've got, I could write a ton, and she's not with us anymore, but it helps kind of keep her alive in my heart when I write a letter to her. So definitely my mentor was my mother-in-law, a coworker. It could be a fictitious character. Have you read a fabulous book that had some great main character energy, and it taught you some things about yourself as you followed that fictional character's journey, either through a book or a movie? How about that celebrity dinner guest that you would like to have dinner with? Maybe you could write your letter to that. That would be Mr. Fred Rogers for me. I love Mr. Rogers. And so if I wrote a letter of admiration to a celebrity, that would be who I would choose. Or maybe there's a group or organization that you so admire their work and what they do in this world. Perhaps that letter can be written to them. I know that there's lots of groups out there who are advocating for people in big, big ways right now. So maybe that's where your energy goes for that. Maybe your favorite band, because you can just always count on them and you admire that they've been there and they have the songs that hit just right, or a podcaster, right? So lots of ways to choose who to write to. And then getting started is kind of the daunting part. So I've just put together a couple of slides of some sentences that might help spur you and inspire you to start a paragraph and then just carry it on, right? Carry forward. So you're invited to, you can snap a photo of these if you want to keep some of these statements around. But we're going to, just spend a little time with this page and this person. I would love to know who you're writing to. I'm already seeing some of you are already sharing. Let's put on some music and get going, and I'll go back and forth between these slides so that you can, have them to refer back to. I'm so inspired by many of you who are saying, I'm going to make an effort to write several of these letters of affirmation to people who are important to me and let them know. Um, and that's so interesting because on Monday when I did the weekly setup and we had the reflection on others, the admiration of others. One of the things we talked about was, giving people their flowers while they're here. And so that's a beautiful way to do that through a letter of admiration. So great work on this activity. You may not be finished. You can, work on that for a little bit. We are going to close up this evening. I have one more thing for us to do, but before we say goodbye, I do want to remind you of suggesting checking out that 24/7 personalized coaching. I know many of you all are incorporating that into your life. Your coaching might have helped you start your letter this evening. I often go and ask Jenny for help with that. So, ask away on the app if you want more information, or hello at silkandsonder.com. They can set you up for that. And then finally, this evening, we're going to close out with this. And I've got some little affirmations there. You can start reading through, and hopefully, one will really speak to you. And I want you to choose the one thing that you need to tell yourself before you go to bed tonight and write that in your journal really quickly, just somewhere, maybe on today, at the end of the day. And then after you've written that, I want you to sit back and take a deep breath. I'm going to put on a spot of music. And what I want you to do is we're going to shut down that cortisone that is firing in our brain, and we're going to bring in some good stuff by just giving ourselves a really good squeeze, a hug, kind of your shoulders, your arms, and just sit and meditate on this affirmation for just a moment, and then I'll be back to close our time together.
Surrounded by love. I am 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 surrounded.
My friends, good work on embracing gratitude and really leaning into our theme with all the admiration that you just kind of had hanging out with yourself tonight. I'm so glad that you joined Bailey and me. We loved being with you this evening. I dropped my Spotify playlist there in the chat. It's kind of a mess. It's a lot of songs because I was telling Bailey the longer we go into the month, the I keep adding. So I'm proud of y'all for being here. Take what you need into the evening and have good rest. And we will see you soon, Sonder family. Thank you for just being here and sharing with one another this evening and making it pretty special. We'll see you soon.
The ones that don't let you lose your soul. You gotta find your people ones that get the joke, who understand what you're saying for a word is spoke. You gotta find your people to put the needle in the groove. When you're together, you got nothing to prove. When you're together, you got nothing to lose. In a world full of strangers, you don't know who to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find what you lost. You can't go it alone, everybody needs help. You gotta find your people, then you'll find yourself. You gotta find your people that'll call your bluff.